What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, we're going to talk once again about LHDX and why it's a very teachable moment. And if I've got enough time before the end, I will also touch on TRKA, a hot stock that's in motion right now, and why in both cases, you should have been pulling the ripcord at the open of today's trading. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and pull up a chair, grab yourself a cup of coffee, ice cold beer, glass of wine, whiskey on a big rock. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what are we on? Video number 3 of our podcast setup. It's very dark outside. It looks like it wants to rain. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. LHDX is going by at 44 cents and change. Didn't I tell you it was going to open somewhere between 50 cents and $0.75? And lo and behold, where was it? 74 cents. You should have been selling it all, because exactly what I said was going to happen did. They sucked in a bunch of dumb retail money in the pre-market. All the chat rooms were lit ablaze, and the FOMO was so thick you could have cut it with a knife. And that was exactly the time for you, along with some insiders, I guarantee we're about to find out, to get out of the damn stock. Because the jig is up. The party is over. And if you're still not convinced, just read the news release that I shared about 2 hours ago, when the CEO and some other guy at the company came out and acknowledged the fact, probably by being pushed from their lawyers, that yes, we did get a favorable ruling from the FDA regarding our flu kit. But they said nothing about how it's going to affect their Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Did they? Did they tell you what is going to happen to all the employees based on the 10Q, which said everyone, including the CEO, is fired come April 15th? No. Did they give you any revenue projections? Did they explain the positive impact to the top or the bottom line going forward? No. Did they give you any clarity whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, as to what this means to the future of Lucira Health? The answer is absolutely not. And while the stock did hang around in the 60-cent range as I pull up a chart, it slowly began to crumble. And when it broke 56, the early morning reaction low, it was all over. 45 cents on the last trade. There are thousands of people, and this is what got me fired up on Friday, and it's going to be tough to top that video. Thank you very much for the positive feedback. We also have some haters on Twitter that I mowed down with some snowflake comments. We got to keep things interesting and entertaining from time to time, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, rather than sit here and tell you that I was right, because I am right most of the time, let me explain in crystal clear manner why you need to get out of that, and as well as TRKA, when I posted a tweet when it hit 44 cents, why there was major resistance at 46 after the stock had already tripled from the lows just a few weeks ago, which LHDX did in less than a week. Don't forget, on Thursday, it was 12 cents a share. Everyone, including you and me, thought it was over. It was curtains. Everyone was going to be fired by the 15th. There was no hope. And then the CEO comes out today, in my opinion, just to do the bare minimum. There was no painting of the picture. There was no future projections. There was no example of how a white knight may come along and save their ass just in the nick of time. There was no estimated runway on how much revenue this will generate so that they can last another 6 months. And before I forget, and this is very effing important, they could have easily gone to their investment bankers when the stock was 35 cents and we owned it at 28.5 and done an offering. Based on what I saw, it's only a $25 million market cap. They could have issued at least 100 million shares. They could have done a $25 to $30 or even $40 million offering that would have gotten them through the end of this year by cutting their workforce by, 75%. And they could have said the reason for that not only to you, the public, but to the institution that would have been involved in the offering. We're doing this equity raise to buy enough time because we have an FDA announcement that's coming. And if it's positive, like we anticipate it would have been 3 months ago, this is exactly what it means for you as a shareholder. They did none of that. They quickly went to Chapter 11. Maybe it's to push someone on the fence into doing a deal at a low price. Let's call it 75 cents a share. So many people have called and even written to me, and yes, I'm calling people back as fast as I can. Do you ever think this is going to go back over 75? Flip a coin. This could easily go back to a quarter. There could easily be a realization that it's Chapter 11. No white knight is coming. No offering is going to be had. The dollar amount in terms of what this kit means at $75 or thereabouts a clip is minuscule. We are still going to be insolvent or out of business, let's say, by the end of this year. Why aren't they calling a conference call right now, Mr. CEO, who I wrote and called again? Why aren't you calling a conference call or a fireside chat like XELA likes to do? I do think it's going higher. It's a buy at a nickel. Why not call a fireside chat? Why not answer some tough questions? Why not stick your head in the guillotine and explain to people that sold at 12 cents why they may want to buy it back right now at 44 and change? Not my recommendation, ladies and gentlemen. But why isn't the CEO coming out and answering some tough questions? Why not put your head in the guillotine and your nuts on the line, pal? I'll tell you why, ladies and gentlemen. In full disclosure, it's my opinion. They are using this example, and we're going to find out in the insider trading logs in the next few weeks to get out of the stock. Whether it's the CEO, other insiders in terms of the management team, their underwriter, or some major institutions. They have figured out that what they call BK announcements often run. It's become in. Declare Chapter 11. The stock, as in the case of Revlon, went up 15x. Others more recently, and I'm not going to name the tickers, go up 30, 40, even 50%. But at some point, as was the case with EVFM and EDNP, which both have Qs on the end of their ticker, the jig is up. The end is near. It's curtains. So simply put, you should have sold every fucking share at the open. And some of you, I saw people say as high as 71 or 2 cents got out. Whether you held it through the weekend or you bought some more in the pre-market as low as 37 cents and you sold it for a double, God bless you. You followed my advice. The same guy who told you exactly what's going to happen is telling you it's a coin flip right now. I can't tell you with any degree of accuracy whether this is going to get bailed out at 3/4 or it's going back to a 25 cents or less. My work here, so to speak, is done, which brings me to TRKA. When it hit 44 cents, I put out a tweet because many of you have been asking me about it. It's been running now for weeks. The breakout, to be exact, was 13.5 cents, a little less than a month ago. The stock is more than tripled. And if you pull up a chart as I did, follow me on Twitter at TrySmallBiz, you'll see there was a double top breakdown on TRKA in September of last year at 46 cents. What was support back then is now going to become resistance. And I think it just hit 44 earlier this morning. Last trade, 39. So me telling you to sell some or all, depending upon where you own it, at 44 may in fact turn out to be dead on accurate once again. If you guys ever see me buying a stock like either one of those two, after they've already tripled or quadrupled in a short period of time, you have my permission to tar and feather my ass, call me out. Why the fuck are you telling us to buy a stock that was 13 cents a few weeks ago? It's running into resistance. Why are you asking us to do this? I wouldn't. I will buy the initial pullback. I will buy a stock that's up 50 or 60%, but you're never going to see me chasing an LHDX at 75 or a TRKA at 44, which is running into major resistance right now from 6 months ago. It's not going to happen. Well, how come we're down 30% on stocks like BBIG, which is the biggest pile of odorous excrement in history? And how appropriate, isn't it, that the most corrupt, inept management team, while we're mentioning piles of dung, is now in the gossip tabloid business? Isn't it ironic? It's rather appropriate. So the moral of the story is I'm going to make mistakes. We were way over our skis at 87% win rate. If you go back 30 years, which is long as I've been trading, and half of that time as a licensed stockbroker, I'm going to be right about 70% of the time. Which means 30% of the time I'm going to be wrong, and in some cases, dead wrong. No one, not me, not Warren, not anybody on this planet is going to be right all the time, but it is a fact. We've had over 100 winning trades in the last 12 months. We are still up 714% with the drawdowns that we've got across the board. And at 1.6 months ago, we were up 16x. Way out over our skis. Now we have a reversion to the mean, but I challenge anyone, put someone up against me, especially in the micro cap, small cap, penny stock space. I'll wipe their ass from one side of the floor to the other in terms of accuracy, knowledge, and the ability to make money. So I would not go anywhere near either of those two. The play in both cases is done. It's time to move on to something else. And with that said, always remember that I love you and I really appreciate you watching.